These are common mistakes we make on arriving in the UK as a new immigrant, and I'm just here to highlight this because I was also a victim of this. So you can also take note of it as well, and also make sure you send this to your friends and loved ones, those who are planning to come to study or to work. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fajira. If you're seeing this beautiful face for the very first time, I'm so happy to have you all in our beautiful family. For my returning subscribers, thank you all for always coming back to watch my videos. I really do appreciate. God bless you. And if you're new to this channel, I create content on UK immigration updates, live in the UK, jobs with visa sponsorship in the UK, studies in the UK, like everything you can think about the UK. So if you're someone who is interested in such content, please do hit on that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, so each time I upload a new video, you're going to be the very first person to see that video. Guys, without taking so much of your time, let's quickly dive right into today's video. I'll be sharing 10 common mistakes to avoid as an immigrant in the UK, not just as an immigrant, a new immigrant in the UK. Some of this information when I came was not there for me to just know how to navigate, and I'm so grateful for a platform like this that will help you navigate on arrival, and also tips to help you adjust successfully. So the first on my list is not registering with a GP early. You don't have to wait until you're sick before you register or you go to a walk-in center. Bear in mind that once you're sick and you don't have a proper registration and you go to walk-in center, it could take a longer time for you to be attended to, especially with the way the UK is now. So first thing you need to do on arriving in the UK, just make sure you're registered with a GP so you can have access to free healthcare when needed. Imagine paying your IHS fee and you're sick and you're still not able to have access to a GP. Remember when I first came and I was thinking I was going to pay an extra fee to see a doctor or to see a GP. I know with the mindset of where we're coming from, each time you want to see a doctor, you have to pay to see a doctor. But with the UK, once you have paid your IHS, you don't have to pay any other thing. But for care workers, of course, they don't have to pay for IHS. Those working in adult social care, they don't have to pay for IHS. The second on my list is ignoring credit history. One of the things you can use to mess up yourself on time in the UK is messing up your credit rating. So once you arrive in the UK, try not to get involved in anything that will make you have a bad credit history. It may not come up just immediately. You may have had a problem and it will take up to 6 years for it to clear from your record, which means that within that 6 years, if you want to go into any investment that will need credit check, or even as little as opening a new bank account, or maybe going for a little credit, they may not give it to you because you have messed up your credit. These are things that a lot of people are not aware of. They just come to the UK and they, oh, I'm in the UK, I'm this, I'm that, and at the end of the day, you find yourself in problems. So not building your UK credit history, it's a bad thing. So make sure you open a UK bank account, register on the electoral roll if eligible, and use a credit builder card responsibly. Not understanding rental contracts. This has landed a lot of people in trouble. In fact, I would say it almost landed me in trouble when I was a student. I was 12, 13 years ago when I was still studying for masters in the UK. Mistake people make with not understanding a rental contract is when signing the agreement. Remember, it's like when you're going to rent a house. If you look at most of those agreements, they are so tiny. When I mean they are so tiny to a point that you cannot even read them, but you are given that to read because there are so many things that you may be a victim of if you don't read it properly. Signing a tenancy agreement without reading or understanding your rights. You have to understand your rights because a lot of people do not understand their rights and they end up finding themselves in problems. I had consultation with some of them and I had to refer them to lawyers. You don't have to get to that level. So even if it takes you 2-3 days to go through the contract and see if it is something you want, then you sign. Because in the UK, there is nothing like I did not know when I signed it. You putting in your signature is for you to show that you have agreed to it. So you can't come up to me and say, oh, I didn't agree to that. So if you didn't agree to that, why did you sign it? So you have to make sure you go through your contract before signing. This is not only for rent. This is for everything you're doing in this country. But I'm using rental contracts because that one has put a lot of people in trouble. They've lost their deposit. They've lost a lot of things. And in renting another house, there is this landlord's whatever history that he builds for you. If you have defaulted, if you've had any issues, it will be there, and another landlord will require another reference. Like if you see the way the UK do referencing now, they will need to even see the payslip of whoever is your referee. In some cases, they could even ask for bank access of whoever you're using as a referee. So you have to be very careful and make sure you read through your contract. Read about tenant rights, deposits, protected by law, and always get a signed agreement. Make sure you get a signed agreement. Living in areas without research. Now, another problem a lot of people face, especially when they arrive in the UK, is getting accommodation in areas without doing your research. When it comes to the UK or any part of the world, one of the things you should be doing about where you want to live is to research about the environment. Research about the environment before even paying to any landlord or maybe subletting. Choosing accommodation based only on price. I know sometimes we want a very cheap accommodation, but we don't want a cheap accommodation that will come with bigger problem. You're better off getting a bigger accommodation with less problem. Now, tip on how to do that is research neighborhoods for safety, transport links, skills, and community diversity before moving in. Especially when you have young children, look out for good schools. Look out for areas that have got good schools, maybe Catholic schools or any other school that is good. Then you can now proceed. The next on my list is working without the right paper. A lot of people have made mistake. People came as care workers and their 20 hours, they were using it in a different organization that does not support visa, in a different organization, in a role that does not have visa sponsorship. A lot of people made this mistake on arrival. The mistake they make, starting work without a national insurance number or legal status. Now, the good thing about people who arrive in the UK now is that their national insurance number comes with their visa, which is their BRP, which is very good. In my time, you will have to get to the UK and you will have to apply for national insurance, and it will take up to 2-3 weeks for it to arrive. And until you get that, that's when you're eligible to work your 20 hours as a student back then. But the good thing about it now is that it comes on the BRP, the e-visa, and so on. Now, another thing you have to know is that your extra hours, the extra 20 hours you can do out of your sponsorship, especially for skilled workers and care workers, you have to do a thorough research to know which organizations, which sector, which job roles you can pick on those 20 hours. But if you're a student, of course, you can work in any organization for 20 hours. There is no restriction apart from going to practice as a dentist or a nurse or as a doctor. Now, the next on my list is not knowing your legal rights in the UK. A lot of people have run into trouble in the UK because they don't know their legal rights. Now, accepting poor treatment at work or by landlords due to lack of knowledge, which is why you have to do some research on your own. You don't only have to wait for videos like this to come up for you to know exactly what to do. Make sure you do your independent research. Familiarize yourself with UK employment and housing laws resources like Citizens Advice are free and helpful. I had filmed a video about other helpful organizations you can go to. You don't have to pay anything and they will be able to help you. They will advise you and tell you what next to do. Do your own independent research. Make sure you Google Citizens Advice in your location. Find them, give them a call, book an appointment, and do your findings. Don't let any organization treat you poorly. And because maybe you're used to that kind of poor treatment from your home country, when you come here, you don't really see anything wrong with it, guys. If an organization don't treat you right in the UK, there is a lot of problem involved. So make sure you do your findings, and you too, as an immigrant, make sure that you're well behaved, because the UK or an organization will not tolerate any bad behavior and you expect them to treat you nicely. So it goes two ways. It's not only for the organization, it's also for you as well. Try to work in a way that even if you're not in that organization anymore, you will be missed. Even when you tender your resignation, they will still want you to stay back than just, oh, thank God we are releasing this problem. Of course, I've worked with some employees like that when they are leaving, you see that everybody's happy that they are leaving. Don't be that employee that everybody's happy when you're leaving. Be that employee that when you're leaving with your heads up. You're living in a way that even if you go back to the organization tomorrow or in the future for a job, you will still be given the opportunity to work with them. Build your relationship very well with the organization. But like I say, if you have been treated poorly, make sure you seek for advice. The next on my list is not budgeting for UK living costs. A lot of people are struggling with this right now. Before you move to the UK, make sure that you check the living expenses. If you want to live in London, there is a standard living expenses you should be looking at. If you want to stay outside London, there is another standard living expenses you should be looking at. So make sure you Google the area you're going to stay and look at it. Understanding the cost of living is very important, such as transport, council tax, and utility. These are things that you cannot escape. But if you're a student, You don't pay your council tax till you have stopped being a student. You've submitted your dissertation. Once you submit your dissertation, let's say you submit on the 1st of January, on the 2nd of January, you're eligible to pay council tax. I actually did make that mistake. I stayed for 3 months without paying council tax, and they sent me a letter. I argued it because I wasn't working at the time. It's none of our business. You're an adult. You're supposed to look for a job. At the end of the day, I had to pay 300 and something pounds. That was far back in 2012. I knew how I felt because in my mind, oh, I'm still a student. My student visa is still valid. My student visa has not expired. So that means I'm still a student. One thing you have to know is that the day you submit your dissertation is the day you stop being a student. Even if you're on a student visa and you still have that normal 6 months after you've submitted your dissertation, you're still on that student visa. But when it comes to council tax, you are eligible to pay council tax. And just in case you have a wife, you have a husband, and you're living together, you are eligible for single person discount. So if your wife is a student and you're a skilled worker, you can get single person discount. But once he or she stops being a student, then you will go into the full rate. So make sure you're prepared for this. Well, a lot of people are not prepared for this, and they get to the UK and they're in trouble. Staying isolated, not integrating due to fear, language barriers, or cultural differences is not a good thing. Come out. Integrate, familiarize yourself with your community, because there are lots of information you will get just coming out of your door. I'm not saying you should come out and start looking for trouble. Go to the community board, because I know a lot of communities, they've got board with activities going on. Look out for the days that will have activities. Then just find out, ask questions, join community groups, volunteer, take free English classes, and connect with locals and other immigrants. It is very important. It is very, very important. The next on my list is ignoring cultural differences. The mistake we make in that. So assuming the UK operates like your home country. I've said this in my videos over and over that you cannot bring your mentality back home to the UK and just assume that the UK is like this because this is accepted where you came from. Doesn't mean that it's also accepted in the UK. You have to know the cultural difference. You have to know that this is unethical in the UK and abide to the UK rules and regulations. Like I would always say, I did not know is not an excuse in the UK. Once you make that mistake, you're bound to go to court or prison. You will have to face it. So you have to be careful. Learn about British culture. Learn about cues. Learn about punctuality. You don't go late. Like, thank God I am one person that when it comes to attending events, you always see me there on time. Even when I want to catch my flight, I'm better off leaving the house and waiting like 2 hours in the airport for my flight than going at the time that the flight is about to leave. So when it comes to the UK, you don't jump queues. Recently, I heard that some people went for job hunting and all of that, and they jumped the queues, they were fighting, and at the end of the day, they just closed. They didn't employ anybody. The company just left and they didn't recruit anybody. They were fighting. Learn about punctuality, arriving on time. Learn about public transport. Remember, you don't come and fight with your driver. I've seen a video of a woman fighting, dragging the driver. You don't do that. No matter what the driver has done, just report it. Get the name of the driver and report it, and it will be dealt with. You don't fight with a driver in your country and you come to the UK, you want to fight with a driver. You will find yourself in trouble. I've been saying this. Guys, please like and share this video with your friends and loved ones. I'm sure it's definitely going to help a lot of people out there. And also learn about the workplace culture. You don't just go to work and hit somebody on the bum or tap somebody. You don't do that. You don't do that. So you have to be very careful. Even if the person has been laughing with you, be careful in your dealings. The UK is not like where you're coming from. Last but not the least in today's video is not seeking help when needed. Of course, I will film more videos about this so you can also help yourself. So struggling silently due to pride or fear of judgment. You're struggling, you're forming, you're okay. You need to seek support. You need to seek help when it's needed. Use support services. We have governments, we have charities, we have religious or immigrant groups. There is no shame in asking for help. Did you hear that? There is no shame. When I mean there is no shame in asking for help. So make sure you seek for help when you need it. Don't die in silence. Look for a community. And when it comes to UK, you will always get help. No matter how you do it, you will always get help. So guys, I hope you find this helpful. Please like and share with your friends and loved ones. And also to subscribe and join our beautiful family. I'll be sharing more updates as we continue. So stay glued to this channel. Thank you very much for watching. Until I see you in my next video, do take care and have a lovely day.